Today I'm going to go over 3 common mistakes that homeowners make when shopping for a fence installation. These mistakes will end up costing you a lot of money. So if you're a homeowner on the market for a new fence, watch this video and I promise you'll get tremendous value out of it. Starting with the first mistake, going with the lowest quote. And I want to be clear here. It is good to do your homework and be an informed consumer, but make sure you are shopping from reputable companies. Actually do your homework. When I say a reputable company, I mean a company that preferably has a storefront, a physical location that you can walk into during business hours and speak to someone, a place that always answers the phone during business hours. Preferably, your salesman gave you his cell contact so you can text or call him directly on the weekends. A company that's been in business a long time, that has a website, that has Google reviews. A company that uses high quality materials, preferably domestic materials, but just in general, high quality materials. Now, if you're shopping around for a quote, all reputable companies in your area should be within a few $100s of each other. But if you get a quote for $5,500, and then you get another one for $5,300, and you get another one for $3,900, well, that third quote should ring a little alarm in your head. I wouldn't go directly to the company that charged you $5,300 and ask, hey, can you match this at $3,900? Because likely the company that gave you the $3,900 quote is cutting corners in some capacity, whether that's not paying their employees on the books, not using a sufficient amount of concrete in each post, using low quality materials. So with that being said, it's really important that you actually do your homework. You need to know what you're comparing. There's a reason that they have different rankings for Division I college athletes and middle school athletes. Comparing the two would not be useful. In the same regard, when you're shopping for a fence, you should have a little bit of an idea about what you're looking for in terms of the quality of the materials, where that material is sourced from, what manufacturers the installation companies use, and the quality of their services, how long they've been in business, are they using subcontractors or do they have full-time experienced fence installers? These are great questions to ask, and you should have an idea going in when you are getting fence estimates. So with all that said, I'm not saying that you need to go with the most expensive quote you receive. You just need to be an informed consumer and realize that any reputable company in your area should be within a few $100s of each other. And if you know what you're looking for and you ask the right questions, then you can make very useful comparisons. You can say, well, these two companies, they use the same materials, they have full-time fence installers, they've both been in business a long time, they have physical locations, they use a manufacturer that I looked up on Google, and they make great vinyl fencing, chain link fencing, whatever fencing that you're interested in getting. Once you kind of have a basis for comparison, then it's much easier to negotiate on your end. But don't just blindly say, well, this company is $1,000 less. That should raise a red flag, and you should either get more quotes or do more research. Make sure you don't go with the company, or I should say, the guy who does fencing on the side, who's charging a significantly lower rate than reputable companies. In the end, getting a low quality fence installation with low quality materials is going to cost you more in the long run. My name is Alex. I am the co-owner of Natural Beauty Fence, and I can tell you, we have to fix a lot of these fences. If you hire someone who does fencing on the side and something goes wrong, it's unlikely that you're going to hear from them again when you try reaching out. So you're then going to have to pay a reputable company like Natural Beauty Fence to come in and fix the issues, which will just end up costing you more in the long run. So do it right the first time. And again, this isn't saying get the most expensive quote out there, but have an informed basis of comparison, do your homework, and then negotiate properly. Don't blindly go with the lowest number. Big mistake number 2, not planning for the future. A fence is a pretty permanent structure, so when you get your fence, you should have an idea of what plans you have for your property in the future. For example, if you plan on installing a pool in 4 years, you should keep in mind that to meet pool code in most areas, especially where we live here on Long Island, the gate has to swing out toward the street. That is because if the gate is left open a little bit and a little kid pushes on it, if the gate swings out toward the street and the kid pushes on it, the gate will close. However, if it swings in and the kid pushes on it, the gate will open and now that kid can access the pool. So the gate has to swing out toward the street and it also has to auto close. Now, I do a lot of gate swing reverses, you can call them, where customers, they have their gates installed and they want them swinging in, but then they get their pool and now to pass inspection, we have to reverse the swing. The problem with that is generally when you're installing gate posts, you use a significant amount of concrete inside the posts or you use a metal beam inside the posts. So they're really strong and difficult to remove. The labor cost to remove gate posts is pretty high. So generally they just want to flip the hardware and put it on the other side so that way the gate swings out. The problem with that is you'll have holes on the inside of the gate. And you can put some caulk in them or some white screws like we sometimes do, but it never looks quite as nice. You don't have that brand new PVC vinyl gate look or wood gate look, depending on which kind of fence you're going with. So in general, it's best to know, do I plan to install a pool in a few years? That way you can plan the gate accordingly. Another mistake I see homeowners make is wanting to get double drive gates when it's really not necessary. Unless you have a driveway where you're looking to specifically be able to drive a car in and out of the gates, I find that double drive gates are just not necessary. They're generally wider, so they require a little more maintenance, and they're more expensive to build and install. So you end up spending more money on something you're barely going to use. I want to stress here that standard width for all landscaping equipment is a 48-inch gate, and you can do a single gate up to 5 feet. 6 feet is pushing it, but I would stick around 4 to 5 feet, and that'll give you plenty of room for all standard landscaping equipment. If, let's say, you are planning on doing a big construction project in your backyard, it's much easier to remove 2 panels of fence temporarily so that way they can do their thing and then put those 2 panels back up than to install a set of double drive gates for one instance when you're going to get construction. To hire a company like Natural Beauty Fence to come do that for you will generally be less costly than getting a double drive gate installed. So just have that in mind. What are you looking to do with the double drive gate, and is it really necessary for your circumstances? Now, one more thing that I want to talk about when planning for the future is getting the correct gate size. Now, let's say, for example, you have an existing walkway that is 34 inches wide and you want to frame that walkway perfectly and get a nice skinny little gate that's about 32 inches wide. That's great. Generally, if I'm doing the estimate, I'm going to ask, do you have another gate on the property that's a little bit wider that you can fit equipment through, that the landscapers can get through? And if the answer is no, I'm going to say, well, then I don't think framing out this walkway exactly is as important as you think it is. I think you should probably make the gate a little bit wider. And that goes with hiring a reputable company, because a reputable company is going to ask you those questions. They're going to know that you don't think about fences every day. It's not your job to think about fences every day. When I come to your house, I'm going to ask you these questions. Do you plan on getting a pool installed? If so, let's swing the gates out. You want double drive gates. What are they actually going to be used for? You want a gate that's 2.5 feet wide. Well, are you planning on putting another gate somewhere else? If not, maybe we should make this gate a little bit wider. That guy who does fencing on Saturdays, who also works at the fire department, probably isn't going to ask you those same questions, and you're going to end up making very costly mistakes. Now, going back to the gate size, it is a lot less expensive in the long run to get the correct size gate installed the first time than to have to get a new gate in the future. Now, the final mistake I want to talk about is underestimating the gate. I know a lot of these mistakes have been about gates. This one is specifically about the gate hardware. Now, you might be wondering at this point, why is he talking about gates so much? I'm getting a 200 feet of fence and only 2 gates. Gates see all of the action. Ideally, you put your fence around your property and it stays in the same place for 20 to 30 years, but your gates are used every day. They see all the action. They're constantly open and closed The posts next to your gates have to be strong enough to withstand the pressure of that opening and closing constantly. And when I say underestimating the gates, I mean they don't ask the right questions when getting fence estimates. Questions you should ask are, do you use stainless steel hardware that isn't going to rust? Now, I can tell you gate hardware is not overly expensive, but it's not cheap either. And you want to make sure that you do it right the first time. At Natural Beauty Fence, we always use American-made stainless steel hardware that doesn't rust. Now, we get a lot of calls to go and adjust existing gates when they sag or when the latch striker rod doesn't line up. Now, if the company who installed the gate used stainless steel hardware, the adjustment is super easy. As you've seen on our channel, if you're a subscriber, I simply just show up with my wrench and I'm able to adjust the hinges and manipulate the gate so that way the striker rod on the latch lines up and the gate can close properly. If the hardware was not stainless, it's usually very rusted, it's impossible to adjust, you can't get the nuts to move, and it just needs to be replaced. Now, if I showed up at your house to adjust a gate, it's really, if you're local, it's gonna cost you less than 50 bucks. It would just be cover our time to get out there and adjust the gate for you. It takes a few minutes. But if you need to completely replace the hardware, well, now you're looking at an expense of over $100. And generally over the lifetime of a gate, you're going to need a few adjustments. So if you don't put stainless steel hardware on the first time, you're just setting yourself up for future expenses. So ask your company that's at your house, do you use stainless steel hardware? Then we want to talk about the construction of the gates. How do you stabilize the gate and prevent it from sagging? Do you use a proper brace? Do you use proper vinyl gate inserts inside so that way the whole gate is stable and doesn't sag? Then you're going to ask questions like, how do you stabilize the gate posts? Do you fill them up with concrete? Do you use heavy wall posts or do you put a metal sleeve inside the gate posts? All great questions, but generally you just want to make sure that the company installing your gates is going to do a good job. And if they can't answer those questions, probably don't hire them. With all that said, my goal in this video was just to give homeowners some guidance as to what they should look out for and common mistakes that I see as someone who's been in business a really long time when shopping for a fence installation. I co-own Natural Beauty Fence here in Wonton, New York with my father, Dennis, and we've been in business since 1947. I am going to be the fourth generation of the company. So I can tell you with experience that these things that I see on a regular basis will cost you a lot of money. So I hope that you found this video helpful. And lastly, if you are on Long Island, New York City, Westchester, or New Jersey, and you would like to get a fence quote from me, you can simply text or call me at this number on your screen. My name is Alex. I'll come to your house, measure the property, and I'll ask you the right questions so that way we save you a lot of aggravation in the future and we get you the fence that you need for your specific situation. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out this related content. We'll see you in the next video.